Hello and welcome back to the Minisode of the Book Marketing Tips and Author Success Podcast. I can't believe, Amy, that we are getting so close to the end of the year. It's unbelievable.
I know. It seems like October just flew by.
October flew by going 95 miles an hour, I'll tell you. It was just unbelievable. And we hope that you've enjoyed our episodes. We've gotten lots of fun feedback and some great reviews. We'd love a review wherever you listen to podcasts. We're up on Amazon now, which is very exciting. So you can listen to us on Amazon Music. I love when I get notifications on my phone that you have a new podcast to listen to from Amazon Music, and it's us.
I know. Isn't that cool?
Yeah. Yeah, it's really, really cool. I keep wanting to take a screenshot and send it to you, but I'm sure you already have it. Like, yeah, Penny, thanks. I got it too. So today's minisode, we're talking about your love-hate relationship with your content editor. And let me just say firsthand, I feel you. I have such a love-hate relationship with my editor. She's brilliant. She makes me seem super smart. Like, she polishes everything I do. All the stuff that I write, because I send her sort of this disheveled Word document. I'm like, here you go, have fun. And I just want to say that it is very normal to have a love-hate relationship with your content editor and your copy editor. So we're just kind of crossing both the spectrum. But it's also very normal to want to throw something against the wall when he or she sends you your edits and you still have a ton of work to do. I mean, that is like at that point, I really literally just want to throw a temper tantrum. But the issue really, I mean, I think that, to me, your content and copy editor, content more than copy really, but your content editor should make you be a better writer. That's kind of the goal. So if you're getting maybe you're just a brilliant writer and your content editor sends the book back and says, everything is great, enjoy your life. But that's kind of rare. And one of the things that I want to mention, and the reason that we're doing a minisode on this, is not as a therapy session for Penny, so she can talk about how difficult it is to get content edits back on her book, but it's also part of, getting your book edited is something that you do for yourself, but you also do it for the reader. A good edit of a book is really, it's not just about putting out this fabulous book, which is at the end of the day, obviously what we all want to do, but it's also disrespectful to your reader to just throw a book up on Amazon that is unedited, or maybe you used Word as an editor, or there's some software that just gives me a headache. I'm actually have my head in my hands now, just so you can visualize this. Oh my God, there's software out there. Like, I have software that'll help me edit my book. And I'm like, no, don't do it. Because readers, and Amy, you and I have talked about this, readers absolutely notice when a book, and they will mention it in reviews many times when a book is poorly edited.
Yes, that is probably one of the most difficult things that we end up having to combat kind of mid-marketing campaign for sure, when reviews start coming in, and especially when they comment on things that are technically fixable. Not everybody is going to love your story. Like, that's just kind of how it goes, and that's fine. But when readers are able to pinpoint things that are wrong during the production process or in the creation of that story or in the editing, that is one of those like totally cringe moments where we go, shit, because you really can't take that back. And those kind of reviews, not to stress anybody out more than you already are, if you have a couple of these, but those reviews really do resonate with other people that are potentially thinking about buying your book. They don't want to knowingly go into a book that has not had a really solid edit to it. And we also get comments like that back from bloggers and influencers and things like that they'll be really honest with us. They'll say, okay, I kind of enjoyed it, but it was a little hard because there was definitely some editing that was missed, or it could have been edited better, or it just didn't flow the way it really should have. But I kind of got what they were trying to get to. Those are the kind of things that a really good editor is designed to help you with.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's hard to build your empire on a shaky foundation. And part of the reason why editing is so important is it's all part of, it's all part of everything that you're putting out there in the world, and everything is your resume. And that's one of the reasons why, if you have a book out there and maybe you a lot of authors will cut, like that's one area that a lot of authors will cut in terms of expenses. They'll say, I don't really need an editor. My neighbor, whatever, was a school teacher and she can edit the book. But I think that, and we may do a separate show on finding a good editor, because I know that's always a question that I get. But honestly, a good editor, a really good content editor, should make you maybe cry. Like I always tell people when I teach on the topic of like creating a book, if at some point you don't really dislike your editor, or he or she hasn't made you cry, they're probably not doing their job, because none of us is perfect. And at the end of the day, the product that we put out on Amazon has to, putting your best product, putting your best book forward, putting your best product forward is really the way to grow your success. Without it, like I said, it's just a shaky foundation.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And, a good editor, I would say, Penny, typically also is familiar with the genre that you write in, topic to some degree,
That's a great point.
Because that is another thing that really helps elevate your work, because it's so easy to get too close to your own stuff to really know where there are consistency problems, or where things could be said better or explained more or something like that. And having an editor that is familiar with your genre is also a huge help in that area. Because I'll say, sometimes your editor drives me crazy, when I'm going through the book. Because I also get too close to your own work even. So we're talking like now 3 degrees of needing somebody with an outside perspective to ask questions and say, what are you really trying to say here? Because to me, it doesn't make sense. To somebody who's completely new to this, it definitely won't. So it's like those kind of pushes where they push you to second guess how you've presented something is just really, it's frustrating, but it's a necessity.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a necessity. And it is one of the things that you mentioned that I want to reiterate before we end the show is that a good editor should help you figure out the nuances of your genre. So that's another thing, is if you're working with a content editor who has some experience in your genre, because in particular for genre fiction, there are some nuances like with fantasy and sci-fi that have all of these subsets, some of which Amy and I have never even heard of. And you're
I'm constantly being surprised, honestly.
I'm constantly being surprised. Right. And I think that, a really good content editor can help you, infuse it with those elements, or remove things that don't really that aren't going to feel right to the reader, because the reader will know. And at the end of the day, that's your, that is who you have to, that's who you have to appeal to, is your reader. And a well-edited book will make all the difference in the world. So it's definitely worth the investment. If you have a book that's out that hasn't done well because of the editing, maybe you want to just pull it out of the circulation and, do a reboot on the, on the book and get it back out there again. But I want to thank you all so much for listening. I know we're so excited that we're back again for another season coming up very soon. And we've so enjoyed this podcast. We hope you have too. Please do leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you.